brought up time management a bunch of times already, and I think it's so relevant to any practice owner's life, and frankly, just about everybody, right? What sort of techniques do you use for time management, and do you utilize? Like I personally utilize technology, shortcuts and scheduling and other things, reminders, and all a bunch of other technology little tips. But how about you?
Absolutely. So I like to start with a kind of a bigger perspective around time management.
Yep.
I don't really like time management. We call it time mastery.
Good.
Because
Good. Terrible term, time management.
Yeah, because time can't be managed. Time is time. I don't know about you. How many hours do you have in a day? I know I got 24.
I'm working on more.
Minus sleep. I know we're all trying to work on more, but the people that say, I wish there was 25 hours. No, you'd be busy doing 25 hours. You'd be busy doing 30 hours.
Sure.
So time management is really all about how do you manage your schedule? How do you manage how you utilize your time? How do you manage what you choose to do and what you choose not to do? Mm-hmm. That's what we're really talking about there if we kind of really take this broad view of time. So, you're in the Northeast. I'm on the Northeast, just outside of DC. And I know in New York, as in where I am, there's this badge of honor that people wear. And the badge of honor is, I'm busy. Right. Daniel, hey, are you busy? Yeah, man, I'm busy. What about you? I'm super busy. Oh, really? I didn't mean busy. I meant I'm super duper busy. And it's just like this bragging thing to tell someone how freaking busy you are. And I never quite got that. One of my favorite quotes, Henry David Thoreau said, "It's not enough to be busy. So too are the ants." The question is, what are you busy about? So when you start diving in deep, and I love diving in deep with people and getting beyond the superficial, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I'm busy. You start to equate, well, what is it that you want? What did you think your life would be like right now? What did you think your business would be like? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And once you get past the superficial ego, they'll tell you, I thought I'd be making more money. I thought I wouldn't be working so many darn hours in the business. I thought I'd have more time for my family, friends, whatever the thing is, right? I thought I had more locations. And then you say, well, there's only a couple things that are going to determine that. One is how you think and make decisions. And two is what you actually take action on. So that will equal the results. So we talk about this idea around time. See, time is an interesting thing. Time is a construct, right? It's just a mental construct that we have. So if you look at it as, have you ever heard of Parkinson's law? Nothing to do with like Parkinson's and PT, but yeah, Parkinson's law?
Have not.
So Parkinson's law, and I bet you've heard of the concept though. So Parkinson's law basically states that time will expand to fill the space available. Okay. That's Jamey's version of Parkinson's law.
I'm with it, yeah.
Right? So basically, and I heard someone speaking the other day, and I like this analogy, basically time is elastic. You and I now have an hour on this podcast. We will spend an hour on the podcast. If you had a half hour, we do a half hour. If we had 4 hours, no doubt you and I could span, go 4 hours. You'll change what we talk about. We'll go deeper probably on some stuff. But what happens is whether you have 5 minutes to do something, 15 minutes or 2 hours, you will expand the time that you have to do it to fill the allotment. Sure. It doesn't mean it will be done better. It doesn't mean you will be more productive. It doesn't mean you will achieve the results. The biggest thing I hear, and I love getting into this conversation, is around this idea of one-on-one treatment. Because when I usually hear one-on-one treatment, it's usually like an hour long. This arbitrary hour. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where the magic of the 1 hour treatment came from. Right. But what happens is, and I remember learning this years ago, just by thinking around this, it's like, wait a minute. So I remember I was a new therapist. I was working at a hospital and we had hour treatments. And frankly, I sucked. I mean, the only thing I could do was stretch people. That's the only thing I knew how to really do comfortably. I didn't have any of the advanced, quote, advanced skills. And I was working in a hospital, so stretching people was fine. And then, 5, 6, 7 years later, I got this certification. I can do manual this. I'm a manual god, right? Why? Because I spent a lot of money and a lot of time learning all of this stuff. And what was interesting is then I still had the same hour, right? So I still have the same hour and I'm getting paid the exact same amount of money, spending the exact same amount of time. Now, was I able to get the person better quicker? I'd like to think so. Can't tell you I really had any sound proof to it. I couldn't prove I was doing it. But what was interesting, and I started to realize when I opened my own practice and I started to have conversations around therapists, around some therapists that had this idea of more is better. So treating longer must be better than treating shorter. Then I said, then why are you taking all these courses? Because the idea of experience and wisdom and knowledge is be able to look at something and quickly figure it out in shorter periods of time, which means you can help people faster.
Yep.
So how does that benefit from seeing the person longer? And of course, every time I have this conversation with one of my staff at the time, they really didn't have an answer to that. I go, because you were taught this mental construct. You were taught this idea that more is better, longer must be better. If a half hour is this, then an hour is this. So that's kind of just an example of this time elasticity. We will expand to fill that time. We will certainly fill it. But the question is, are you doing the things that are getting the results that you want? Are you being productive?